the show where we try to get you guys some value and find the best underdog plays of the day. So we'll recap yesterday's picks real quick before getting into today's slate. Yesterday I gave out the Rockets at plus 110 and the Trailblazers. I actually bought a point or sold the point and had them at plus 5 at plus 105. But if you had them on the money line, even better for you because they did in fact beat the Lakers. And the losses I gave out were the Orioles for the second day in a row. I went with them. This time they lost in extra innings. I gave out the Yankees at even money. And I gave an edge for the Pacers at plus 170, but they did in fact lose. And the Royals, which was one of my main picks, their game got postponed. So obviously there was no play on that one. But yeah, not a bad day. 2-2 overall. And yeah, so we'll just get right into today's. But also, that being said, if there's any questions throughout the entire show, if you want to get my input on any games or anything, you can throw it in the chat, and I will be sure to give you guys my play. But yeah, first game of the day, I'm going with the Nationals plus 110 versus the Braves. I just like the pitching matchup here. It's Eric Fetty for the Nationals versus Kyle Wright for the Braves. And I have the numbers up on screen. You can see them. But Kyle Wright's had a pretty terrible year so far, and Fetty's been doing pretty well by MLB standards. And so, yeah, I like the pitching matchup here. Fetty's got by far the better numbers, and Kyle Wright, as you can see, has 7.2 ERA and a 2.2 WHIP. And that WHIP is something that I'm looking at a lot. I think it's a good matchup for the Nationals. He has 17 hits and 16, or Wright's allowed 17 hits and 16 walks and only 15 innings pitched. So he's allowing over 2 runners to reach base, or 2 batters to reach base each inning. And I think that is a recipe for disaster when you're playing a team like the Nationals, who are number 6 in batting average, and also draw a decent amount of walks as they are in the top half of the league in on-base percentage as well. So I just think this might be a game where the Nationals piece together a couple runs, one every couple innings, and hopefully Fetty has enough run support to get another win on his year. But yeah, I think this is definitely a good play. It's only plus 110, so only a slight underdog, but underdog nonetheless, and that's what we do here. So yeah, Nationals plus 110 with a slight pitching edge, and I think the Nationals can take advantage at the plate. And moving on to the next game, believe it or not, I'm going back with the Orioles for the third day in a row. If they let me down 3 times, I'm tripling down here. If they let me down again, might have to lay off Baltimore for a while, but I also like this one again. The pitching matchup is Tommy Malone, who's 1-2 on the year with a 4 ERA and 1.39 WHIP, and Tanner Roark for the Blue Jays, who is 1-1 with a 6 ERA and 1.58 WHIP. So now this is very similar to the Nationals pick. I think there's a good pitching edge here. Tommy Malone's pitched 18 innings. He's allowed 22 hits, but he's only walked 3 batters, so he's pitching to contact, which, depending on the team, can be good or bad. And I kind of like it here against the Blue Jays. But Tanner Roark, he's only pitched 12 innings and has allowed 10 hits and 9 walks. So you see his WHIP is up, and it's because he's walking batters. He is more of a strikeout pitcher, I would say. But I like Tommy Malone here. He's got pretty much a league average WHIP. And I like it because the Blue Jays, yeah, I'll just do the numbers up that I was just talking about. But the Blue Jays are 25th in on-base percentage. And so they hit averagely. They do draw a decent amount of walks, but they're pretty much an average team by standards. But as you see, 25th in on-base percentage. And I think Malone could have a good day against them as he doesn't walk people and will make them earn it. And vice versa, the Orioles are top 10 in on-base percentage. So I think this is another case of just being able to piece together a couple of runs and hopefully not let up the long ball on the Orioles side, as that could be devastating. And also, last night went to extra innings, and the Orioles lost. That was a tough way to lose it. But yeah, so I like this one too, just because of the pitching. Very similar to the Nats game. I think that there's just value here, even though it is even. It's the closest game of the series, but still, Orioles are the underdog, and I'm rolling with them for a third time, and quite possibly the last time, depending on how this game plays out. And for a third game in the MLB slate, we got the Diamondbacks at plus 150 versus the A's. And now this is actually possibly my favorite bet of the day, and it's also the biggest underdog on the card that I have here. Yeah, so it's Merrill Kelly who's pitching for the Diamondbacks, who's had a fantastic year. He's 3-1 with a 1.7 ERA and a sub-1 WHIP, which is incredible considering he has pitched a decent amount of innings. There's a decent sample size there. And for the A's, they got Jesus Luzardo on the mound, who's 1-0, but does have a 4.79 ERA and a 1.5 WHIP. Now, this is my favorite play for a couple of reasons. I think Merrill Kelly has a clear pitching advantage against Luzardo, but also not only is he the better pitcher right now, it's the trends are in his favor. So you see I got the numbers up. In 26 innings, he has 22 strikeouts and only walked 3 batters, which is huge here because the A's, they're 23rd in batting average, but they're, I think, 3rd in on-base percentage because they draw the second most walks in the league. And so you see Kelly's not walking people. The A's rely on walks a lot. So that's just another, just an interesting trend that pushed me in this direction. And on the other side, the A's also do strike out the second most in the MLB. So they are, depending on how you look at it, a patient team. But I really like Kelly here. I think he'll have a good game, and hopefully he gets the run support that he needs, which honestly might not be a lot in this one. And like I said, they're plus 150, and I actually think this is a game that they should win. This isn't even one of my picks where it's just there's good value on the number. I think the Diamondbacks really should be the favorite in this game, and you can get them at plus 150. So I think that's my favorite bet of the day and the final one for the MLB. But we can move into NBA now. There's 4 games in the playoffs today, game 2. And I like the 76ers at plus 160 against the Celtics. This was a weird game in game 1. I'll get into it in a second, but just to start, Embiid is a matchup issue, and he only took 15 shots in game 1, which I thought was pretty ridiculous. He should be getting definitely a heavier workload. And it was a good game. Celtics pulled away late, but 76ers definitely have value here at plus 160. And I'll go into a couple of reasons why. Like I said, there were some weird situations in the first game. On the Celtics side, Tatum had 32 and 13. Jaylen Brown had 29 points. I don't think those are sustainable numbers for either of them. I think they'll level out. And also with Gordon Hayward now injured, and I believe he's out for the foreseeable future, they lose another weapon. It's one less piece that the Sixers have to worry about on the defensive end. And on the 76ers side, which was my biggest complaint about the game, is they had a weird shot distribution. Embiid took the same amount of shots as Alec Burks, which should never be happening. And Josh Richardson had the most shots on the team, which is interesting in itself. I also believe he was 0 for 9 from 3. So I expect him to get a lesser workload and more shots to go to Embiid and Tobias Harris, who only took 3 threes when I believe he averaged closer to 6 throughout the season. But he also didn't hit one. So the Sixers had a lot of issues shooting the ball. I think Josh Richardson was 0 for 9. Tobias was 0 for 3. And you got to expect that won't be the case for every game. And like I said, Embiid should be getting at least 20 shots a game, especially without Ben Simmons and when there's not really anyone to match up with him. He got Daniel Tice and Robert Williams into foul trouble, and I could see that being a trend throughout the series, depending on how long it goes. And then another weird thing for the Sixers is Furkan Korkmaz only played 7 minutes, and when he averaged 22 in the regular season. I don't know why he's not getting more minutes. Maybe Brett Brown thinks it's a matchup issue or something. But he definitely should be playing more, and I think he could be providing value to the team. And depending on the night, I would say he's better than Alec Burks and possibly even Josh Richardson. Maybe not on the defensive end, but definitely on the offensive end in some cases. So yeah, that's my first and only pick for the NBA. I do have a couple of leans here. The Mavericks at plus 230. I was on them game one. They didn't end up winning, but that was largely in part to Porzingis getting ejected in the third quarter for pretty much no reason. And I think he'll come back today. He's a big matchup issue for the Clippers. I think he could piece up Zubac a little bit. But plus 230 is a little too good for me to not highlight here. I think they're 6-point underdogs, but I think it's a little closer than that. And I think Porzingis has a big game coming off the ejection. Luka will obviously do what Luka does. And or maybe the Clippers fall flat. But either way, plus 230, I think, is a great number considering how close these teams are in my eyes. And then also the Red Sox at plus 125. They're playing the Phillies. Jake Arrieta is on the mound, but there are some decent trends that point into the Red Sox favor. I won't go too deep into them as it is just a lean rather than one of my plays on the day. But it is something that BetQL has a little bit of value on, and with some trends, I like it a little bit. Also, that being said, I just mentioned BetQL has a little bit on the Red Sox. That's something that you guys can get in and see all the reasons why. Just sign up for a code, use promo code Mazone, helps me out, helps you out. You get 20% off. So those are my two leans on the day, along with a handful of picks. I'll recap. I'll recap everything real quick. So Nationals, Orioles, and Diamondbacks, and my best bet of the day, Diamondbacks at plus 150. So you get great value there, like I mentioned. And then also the 76ers. And I know I'm not going to go too deep into all the reasons why. I gave my best reasons. Yesterday I said I expected a good day. We went 2-2, which when betting underdogs it is in fact a good day. And I'm expecting similar things today. I think at least two of these games are winners. I'm banking on the Diamondbacks being one of them. I look at it and I think it should go 4-0, but it's betting underdogs. You can't beat Vegas every time, but I feel good about them, and hopefully that you guys do too. And good luck to everybody playing. I will be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then Friday, if anyone's looking to get some UFC information, I will be live Friday night at 6. So yeah, hope to see you guys soon, hopefully tomorrow at 11, and thank you guys for tuning in.